This series of videos is for the Robot Wars competition being hosted at Southern State Community College through the Ohio's Code Scholar program. For this competition, participants will be using the Flysky FS-i6x radio controller in order to control their robots. We will need to do some quick setup on the controller before we'll be able to have the code interact with it the way we want it to. I do apologize for the low quality of this video. The images will come in and out as far as blurriness goes, but let's go ahead and get started. So turning on this remote is just flipping this switch right here up, and you'll see that the screen does come on. Kind of hard to see from that angle. There we go. Now, these different buttons here, on this left side you will see up and down, on the right side you will see OK and cancel. OK and cancel, even in person, are kind of hard to read due to the graphic behind it. Then we have the switches up on top. This is the A switch, B switch, C switch, and D switch. Looking at the sticks, we have 4 axes as well. On the right hand side, up and down, is going to be axis 1. On the left hand side, up and down is axis 2. Back to the right hand side, going side to side, is going to be axis 0. While on the left hand side to side, is axis 3. It's important to note that when looking through our code, we use axes 0 through 5 for reference to each one of our inputs. However, when we're looking at the raw data from the remote, the terminology is channels 1 through 6. The difference in the numbering is simply in programming we tend to start at number 0 instead of number 1. So let's move forward with how we set this thing up. So I'm going to turn this off for a second, and I'm just going to flip this switch down. Once I turn it back on, we'll get this warning that says all switches must be placed in their up position, with this throttle stick being in the down position. In order to get that error message to go away, I'm just going to push that up. We're going to make use of that as a safety feature for our robots to make sure that they do not immediately start up anytime that we anytime that we turn on our robots. Alright, so next step is we want to take a look at how to turn these switches on so that the receiver will actually receive them, because by default we are not transmitting these top 4 switches. Instead, we're just transmitting the stick axes. So in order to do that, you're going to hold down the OK button, and that will bring up the system menu. That'll bring up the menu. We want to go into system, so just hit OK again. Now we're going to hit the down button, and everything went blurry on you there, sorry. We're just going to keep hitting the down button all the way until we reach auxiliary switches. Click OK once you hit that. And if this is your first time coming into this menu, it'll say off for all 6 of the switches, kind of like that. In order to switch them to on, we want to switch A and B on, so click the down button once your arrow here is over top of it, then hit OK to switch to the next switch, hit down again, and those 2 are now on. Now, we're not using the UART communications method for this. If you want to use all the switches in your robot, you will need to not use the Arduino blocks method that we're using for this particular project, and instead manually type in all the code and include the UART library. Anyways, in order to save these switches being on, what you'll need to do is hold down on the cancel button, and you may have heard a beep right there. If you don't hear that beep, then you didn't hold down on it long enough before releasing, and your settings didn't save. Once we're back at this menu here, we're just going to go ahead and cancel back out to here. Then I'm going to hit down and select the function setup. Click OK. And then we're going to go down to auxiliary channels, and we'll see channel 5 and channel 6. Right now the default says no source, so I'm going to hit OK there. Not OK. I'm going to hit down there. And I'm going to set channel 5 to switch A. Hit OK to go down to 6. Hit the button again. It'll say switch B. And then once again, I'm going to hold down cancel to save my changes. Now if I click OK again, you'll see that my settings did save. And there's apparently a different beep for whenever it's not saving any changes. It's a little bit lower than the first one. Once you've done that, your remote is actually set up as far as the internal settings need to go. From there, it's going to be the wiring and the code that we use on our Arduino in order to make our robot do its thing. Thank you.